of the CFA Institute Global Network of Societies. Our mission is to promote the highest standard of practice in the Nigerian financial services industry and provide a vibrant community for our members. The CFA Charter signals the holders' commitment to professional excellence. As thought leaders, we collaborate with stakeholders to ensure adherence to ethical standards, better education for professionals, and to build market integrity. We are the leading voice for advocacy in the finance and investment industry in Nigeria. To partner with us or become our member, visit us at cfasocietyn.org for more details. CFA Society Nigeria, making finance a force for good.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's workshop. So my name is Abiodun Gunoike again, and I'm the Vice Chair of the University Relations Committee of CFA Society Nigeria. Just before we start, I just want to confirm we are all ready, and I hope you have all your writing materials and you are ready to really get to work in the next few minutes. All right, we have a very important guest in our midst, and she's going to take us through ethics. And like we said in our last meeting last week, that we want to give a level playing ground for every university. As such, we'll be going through the details of what ethics is all about, how to answer questions, and all that. So without wasting much time, I would like to introduce our guest for today, who is also a member of the society, in the person of Miriam Kofi. So Miriam is a senior investment and compliance specialist with Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation. And she's been, let me use the word, tried and tested in the area of ethics. So I'd like to enjoin you all to pay attention. Feel very free to ask questions so that you can have your questions answered. And I want to wish you a wonderful time. So at this point, I'd like to hand over to Miriam. Miriam, you're welcome. Thank you for accepting to lead and facilitate this session. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Abiodun, for that introduction. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. It's nice to have you all here. It would be nice to know where everybody's joining from. I mean, what university are you representing? Just can you put that in the chat for us? Let's just have an idea who is here with us. Put it in the chat. I want to know a little bit about you guys before we start. Come on, I know you're here. I see like 60 plus people. You have to be able to respond because I want this to be interactive. So just put it in the chat. What university are you representing? Where are you coming from? Thank you, Khadija. Yeah, if I don't Ekiti, thank you. 2 people are only here. Okay, we have more universities. Great. Maiduguri, Ekiti again. Good. So Crawford. Okay, where's that? I don't even know some of the universities, but it's great to have you all here. And it's nice that you guys are giving me some feedback. Yeah, welcome aboard. And we're here to discuss ethics. Thank you for being responsive. Ignore the screaming in the background. I can't control it right now, but it will go down. Somebody's trying to handle that. I am at home. So today we're going to talk about, obviously, we're here to do ethics, and it's for your practitioner's ethics challenge that you're about to participate in. I'm going to try to be time conscious because I do want to answer your questions. As Abiodun said, we need to have time for questions, but I also want you guys to, we're going to do some real scenarios and we're going to do some polls. So please try to participate. This is for you and nobody's watching how you're doing. Nobody's scoring. I don't even know who is who. So I'm going to briefly go through the standards, which you should have a bit of a background. I mean, I think because if you guys are all interested in this challenge, you should have an idea of, can I have some of these people in the chat tell me, do you have any idea what the professional standards, CFA professional conduct, code of conduct standards are? Anybody have any idea? Yes, no, that's all I'm looking for in the chat. Do you guys have an idea? Yes, thank you, Yemi. Come on, like anybody know if you don't have an idea, it's fine to tell me because I also want to know, okay, yeah, there's some no's, that's good. Okay, so I'll try to be medium, not advanced completely because yes, a lot of yeses I'm getting, which is good. No, it's good as well. So to save time anyway, just to have an idea. So I'm not going to spend too much time on the standards because this is something you can read. what I really want you to do is try the cases. We're going to go through a few cases, and I want you to use just logic and your intuition. Just be a part of it as much as you can. So without wasting any further time, what is ethics? Okay, basically what ethics is making good choices. So everybody, every single day we make good choices, or we're faced with choices, and that's what ethics is. So the backbone of ethics within the CFA is really just how to conduct yourselves professionally, right? The CFA Institute Code of Ethics and Standards of Professional Conduct are just guiding you on what to do in your role, whether you're an investment manager, you're an analyst, whatever you find yourself doing, it's a guideline. It's to help you and prepare you for possible scenarios that you'll face in real life. So in a nutshell, that's what it is. So the main ingredients, as I like to call them, the code of ethics, these are the 6 codes. These are the ingredients that go into creating the CFA Standards of Professional Conduct that we have. So if you look at them, there's 6. I'm not going to go through them in detail, but professionalism is in, like, I think it's in all of them. Profession is mentioned in all of them, apart from, I think, promote integrity and viability of global capital markets. So it's important to be a professional. Like if whatever industry you find yourself in, medical career, in engineering, even in plumbing, there's professionalism that you carry in every trade you find yourself in. So, and integrity is another thing. You see 50% of them mention integrity, act with integrity, place the integrity, promote the integrity. So it's all going back to making good choices and doing what's right, regardless of who is looking at you or not looking at you. So I'm not going to go into these details. Even those that don't have an idea, these slides will be available if you want. I think the society can provide for you, but because of time, we're going to go into the actual standards. So the codes of ethics are just the ingredients to create the standards. That's what I think. That's my opinion of how the CFA is doing this. I'm thinking of we're cooking something here. So if we move on straight onto the standards. So the standards, I mean, if you're somebody that's interested in the CFA program, I have a Nunomic, as you notice, I didn't mention it, I had it for the code as well, but there are 7 standards, like the CFA has 7 standards of professional conduct, but there are subsections to these standards, which are 22. So you need to know the 7 standards and understand them. If you're writing notes, please do take notes right now as I'm speaking, because we're gonna do real life cases, and I want you guys, you don't have these slides. I want you guys to try and pay attention, like in your own words. I'm not going in through the details of the textbook. So the very first standard that I mentioned, you see, was professionalism. It's so important to, like, it's well structured. As I always say, this is perfectly, you need to be professional in anything you conduct. So professionalism is the first standard, intentionally. There are subsections. There are 4 subsections within professionalism. So in any profession you find yourself in, you need to have knowledge of the law. You need to have knowledge of the local law, and you need to also have knowledge of the standards, where the professional conduct, CFA professional conduct has standards. So the main reason, if I tell you just briefly what this means under the CFA program, is knowledge of the law means you should know the knowledge of the law where you are, whatever jurisdiction you find yourself, is the local laws. And you should also understand what it means in the CFA, what you need to follow law-wise. And what the CFA says is, whichever one is stricter, you follow the most strict law. So if the local laws are more strict than the CFA standards, follow the local laws. But if the local laws are weaker, you need to follow the CFA standards of professional conduct. So that's basically what part A is. Remember these as well. If anybody's writing, write them down, because CFA calls them standard A, B, C, D. That's what I'll be referring to them all through. And then we have independence and objectivity. I mean, this speaks for ourselves. You need to be independent in making your decisions. Nobody should kind of sway you toward making a decision. It should be independently your decision, and you need to be objective, not subjective, because it's going to benefit me. I have a portfolio there. My mom has a huge investment in it. My husband has something. You need to be objective. Even if it's reporting yourself, you need to be objective. So that's part B of professionalism. C, misrepresentation. I would just simply tell you, don't lie. That's what it means. They're just being polite calling it misrepresentation. Don't misrepresent any information. Don't try to lie or hide information. That's all part of lying. And saying that you're not telling somebody something that is true is all part of lying. Just don't misrepresent yourself in any way or form. As a professional, you need to be transparent. You need to be very open, and just even information that hasn't been asked, you should give it to them, so there's no perception that you're hiding anything from your clients. The final subsection for professionalism, D, misconduct. Like, this is blatantly what it is. This is something that can cause you your employment. Don't show up to work drunk. Don't do anything that violates the rules and regulations of your job or whatever profession you find yourself in. Misconduct is a serious thing. This is something that can cause you to lose your job or get you even arrested. This is something that is clearly illegal or just not ethically correct. So if we move on swiftly, standard number 2 is integrity of capital markets. So as a CFA charter holder or CFA candidate or somebody in the CFA program, you need to maintain the integrity of the capital market. This means you do not do anything that affects the market negatively. This is talking about things like insider trading. If you have any idea what that means, just double dipping, really. Basically, that is what it is. If you have any privy information, do not use it to your favor. Do not disclose it if you know it's confidential. Do not cause anybody to use it as well. Just make sure you maintain the integrity of the capital market. So the first subsection is material non-public information. This is an interesting one. Like, you have to know what they mean is material. It's something that can move the market. That's why it's called material. And it's non-public because it's privy information that maybe you just have and maybe the rest of the public does not have access to. Maybe because of where you work or access to certain individuals has given you some non-public information. If you use this, this is a huge violation. I'm talking about insider trading. This is a violation with the CFA. But there is a caveat here. There's something called material public information. This is when you do your digging. This is when you go to companies, you interview employees, directors, and you get an insight about where the company is going, or maybe they're going to promote something. This is something everybody can do, but you went and looked for it and you found it. So material public information is absolutely fine to use. Material non-public information is a violation. I hope that is clear for everybody. And there's a theory, I won't go into it because if you're not in the program, it might be confusing, but mosaic theory, anybody that understands it, that's what it's called when you use material non-public and public information to your favor to make decisions. So that's allowed completely. The second part of this standard is market manipulation. It speaks for itself, really. You should not be manipulating anything. Manipulation is not good. We just know that. You don't manipulate the market. You don't manipulate people. You don't manipulate any information. Market manipulation is like spreading rumors. You shouldn't be doing that, or falsely putting information out there so you can raise the price of a stock or reduce it so you can favor or your client can favor. It's a huge violation of the CFA's standards of professional conduct. So if we move on, standard number 3, my favorite standard, duties to clients. This is the standard that has the most subsections after professionalism. And I love this because I just believe, why are you here? You're here to serve. Naturally, we actually all serve. If you're thinking of the higher power, whatever religion, you're here to serve your maker. If you're thinking you're in the government, you're serving those citizens. Even if it's not like democratic, you're serving people. You're here to lead. So duties to clients is really important. It's an important standard because the CFA has this hierarchy. So your duty is to your client first, then to your employer, and then to yourself. Like, you need to prioritize in that way. So duties client, the first subsection, part A, is loyalty, prudence, and care. Again, the words, if you understand English, it speaks to itself. You need to be loyal to your client. Prudent, don't just waste resources for your client. You need to make sure that they're getting the most cost saving from your services and the most return. You need to care, obviously. You need to care for your client. So you're doing things that are benefiting your client. So subsection A is clearly what it says. And then B, fair dealing. I think we all want to be treated fair in life. Generally, everybody notices when they're marginalized. So you need to treat your clients fairly. But here in the CFA, like just in life, if you're sitting in premium economy and you're sitting in economy in a plane, you'll be treated fairly. The premium might get a drink before they take off. Then economy might not get it, but you all eventually will get something to drink later on or a meal. So fair dealing means if clients are paying for a premium, their service might be superior to those that are not paying that premium. But if anything comes and there's a limited availability of investments, you do it pro rata, which means those that have a higher value of the portfolio, you'll do a weighted distribution for them. So that's what really fair dealing is. It's not like exactly equal, but we're talking about equality. So again, it speaks for itself, and basically that's what it is. If we go on to C, subsection C, suitability. Again, you need to invest on what works for your client, what's suitable for your client. Don't go and invest in high risk investments for somebody that is a low risk client, that you know their tolerance is low and their ability is low. So you need to always consider what you're doing when you're selecting for your client. So, you know, you don't give somebody that has food allergies nuts. Like it's just simple things like that. If you think of it like everyday terms, it makes things easier to understand, I think, for me with ethics. Again, if we move on, standard subsection D, performance presentation. Again, it goes to that transparency. Just be transparent. Just give your clients an overview of what you're doing, of why you're getting these results, of how their performance is doing. Like normally you need to give at least a 5-year projection to show them, okay, this is what is happening with your portfolio, this is what happened. So you need to have a clear, it's accessible for your clients, regularly send this to them, show them their performance and what's happening. And the fifth E, if we're talking about duties to clients within subsection E, preservation of confidentiality. I think we all appreciate confidentiality in life. Nobody wants their business all out there. Just because I speak to one person, all of a sudden the whole village knows what's going on in my life. So you need to preserve your client's confidentiality, even if it's in their favor. Like there's a clause, like for example, now if I use the CFA, they love this case whereby I have a client that wants to invest in a charity, and part-time I help out with this charity and they're looking for funding. I cannot tell that charity to go and contact my client, because that's me actually breaking confidentiality. I can recommend to my client that there's so charities to do. So I'm not disclosing anything about the client because the charity is not my client. I'm just doing volunteer work. So it's things like that that comes in with preservation of confidentiality. You can mention you have a client vaguely, and you can mention, okay, that you have a portfolio this size, but just don't delve into too much details, because most people, if you're in the professional world, I think maybe as students now you might not understand, but most people call them that your customers are your clients. Like most big people that work in companies will be like, yes, I was seeing a client. This client could be the president, vice president. You don't know, it's a client. So just use that word client, even when you're talking about something, but try not to delve into details, because sometimes without saying too many details, now if somebody that lives in Africa or is in West Africa is like, yes, I manage that portfolio of that man that created the first, refinery in Nigeria. We all know who we're talking about right now. Without saying his name, it is Dangote. Who else has a refinery in Nigeria as an individual? So also be careful with that. If we move on, standard 4, duties to your employer. As I said, client comes first, then your employer. So your employer, you also have to have loyalty for your employer. Do not do anything that makes your employer lose or you're competing with your employer. It's so important that you're loyal to your employer, because if your employer does well, basically you're looking good too. So maintain that. If I move on swiftly, because of time now, I think I'm taking too much time. B, if we think about it, additional arrangements. This speaks for itself. If there's anything I'm doing off the books that is not to do with my employer and I'm getting compensation, even if I'm not getting compensation, I need to disclose this to my employer so they know there's no conflict of interest. Like when I mentioned helping out with the charity organization, if that's taken a lot of my time, or even if it's not, it's just best to inform your employer what you're doing outside work, and any additional arrangements means maybe if I'm not getting compensation, maybe I'm getting access to a free golf course or a club that is expensive to get into, or they're giving me like souvenirs, branded souvenirs. It can be little things, but just disclose it to your employer, just so everything, transparency is so important within the CFA. And C, if I go responsibilities as supervisors. So responsibilities as supervisors are saying, just because you're a supervisor and you've delegated, you still have the responsibility of that person that you've delegated. The authority is still on you. Anything they do wrong or right, you still need to monitor it. Just because you delegate doesn't mean like hands off or not my problem, I don't know what they're doing. No, you need to still be aware of what's going on. So let's move on. Standard number 5, we're almost there because we want to make sure we have time for those cases. Standard number 5 is investment analysis, recommendation, and actions. So this is the heart of what you do as a CFA. This is the work that you do for those clients that I'm saying that are so important. So you're analyzing, you're recommending, you're taking actions. So you need to act with diligence and reasonable basis. Diligence, like with the CFA program, most people that trip up on it, I am talking about myself as well, I have failed the CFA exams before, is because of lack of diligence. Like, pay attention to detail. This is what they are looking for. They're looking for people that pay attention to details, that notice little changes. So be diligent and also be reasonable. Like, when you're making decisions, make reasonable decisions. If you're not sure, seek counsel, seek information from your compliance officer, seek your supervisor's advice. Diligence and reasonable basis is part A for standard number 5. B, communication with clients and prospective clients. So not just your clients that you've taken up, the prospective clients as well. You need to communicate. If there's any change in a particular fund and it's no longer suitable for that client, or you're going to make a change, you need to communicate this with the client before you do make the change. So you make sure that it's still suitable and that client still wants to maintain that fund. So you need to communicate clearly with your clients and prospective clients. C, record retention is similar to performance presentation. You need to retain records of your performance of what you've done, at least 5 years. I think normally it's 5 years at least, a projection. Generally, when we're doing projections in finance, you need a 5-year projection, gives you an idea, a whole picture of what's happening, what happened in the past, what's going to happen when you're projecting for the future. So record retention is important. Standard number 6, speak for yourselves, conflict of interest. Anything that is conflicting or potentially seen as a conflict. When unsure, the CFA says disclose. Always disclose any conflicts of interest. Anything that could be a conflict of interest. Simple thing like maybe all of a sudden your family member has inherited a large amount on a fund that you're already managing. You need to disclose this. If it means taking yourself away from that account because it could benefit you, take yourself away from writing those reports. Inform your employer. Priority of transactions, if I move on to part B of standard 6, priority of transactions. I kind of mentioned that. So it's client, employer, me. If there's a limited, you need to prioritize your client and then your employer and then yourself. So, but there's a clause here. If you're in the CFA program, they tend to find and catch people out in questions. I remember when I was doing it, as long as that client is a paying client, although I've just mentioned that your any family member that could benefit. If your family member is a paying client, they are still a client. Do not prioritize other clients over your family member thinking you're being more prudent. No. If they're paying just like other clients, you need to also treat them like other clients. Don't treat them at a lesser favor. Maybe if you have a non-paying maybe family member that's just asking you, oh, help me out with this, then you don't put them in the same basket as your clients. The final one for standard 6 is referral fees. This happens to us professionally, like somebody, everybody knows. You have, maybe if you go to a shop, because you know that owner, there you have a relationship with them, or they know your parents, they'll give you a little discount or they'll give you a little gift. So always disclose any referral fees to your client so they know you're being objective and they know you're just not sending them to this broker because this broker is giving you discounts or is giving you freebies in the side. No, you need to make sure you're clearly disclose any referral fees. So it's very objective. They know, okay, we're using this broker because he has the best services. And yes, he's given us a discount as well. So just always disclose that. Standard number 7, this is the final standard. And I think if you're interested in the CFA program or just now you're just learning about it, this is a really important standard to make note of. Responsibilities as a CFA Institute member and a CFA candidate. I love this standard also because it's telling you as soon as you decided to register for that program, you are subject to this standard. And you need to make sure you understand it because the first part of it is conduct as participants of the program. This means you can get to level 2 or even level 3. You do something wrong, they can decide, the CFA can decide to kick you out of the program. They can suspend you from the program. So it's so important to actually understand this, like cheating, sharing information about the exam. CFA is very particular about that. Do not come out of your CFA exam and be saying, oh yeah, there were so many questions on derivatives. Oh, portfolio man, that is a huge violation with the CFA. You can come out and say, oh, it was really difficult. Oh my God, I'm so glad I performed well. I prepared well for this, but you can't start disclosing and delving into particular topics I'm not even talking about questions here. You can't say how many questions you notice on a certain topic. That's a violation with the CFA program. So these things are important for you to understand. I mean, if you're interested in the program, but also for the challenge that you're doing now, yes, just make note of that. Then B, the final part, standard number 7, is reference to the CFA Institute, CFA designation, and the CFA program. Never use the CFA as a noun. I am not a CFA. I am a CFA charter holder. I am not a CFA level 1. I have passed CFA level 1. So be very clear. I mean, you can make this mistakes. We're humans. But as soon as you notice it or somebody brings it up, make sure you correct it. So I think those are really the standards. Okay. Okay, so those are really what the standards are. Sorry, I was just checking the chat because I saw the alerting, but somebody's replying them, which is perfectly fine. So those are all the standards. I hope you guys paid attention to these standards or made some notes, because right now what we're about to do is we're going to delve into the case studies. But just before we do the case studies, I want you guys to watch a quick clip, because I understand some of you don't have any background with the CFA program. So this clip is just going to tell you on how to conduct. It's just a short 1-minute clip. We're all going to watch it, and it's just going to show you how to go about answering these cases, how you actually, the CFA has a way for us to, to actually answer questions. So I'm going to just, without spending too much more time, I think I may start, let me start the video now. Yeah, I think it's, why is it loading so slowly?
In which the answer is not simply right or wrong, and helps you identify, consider, act, and reflect on important factors to consider when faced with an ethical dilemma. First, identify the inputs needed to make an informed choice. What is the ethical principle at issue? Are there any conflicts of interest? Who do you owe a duty to? What are the important facts? Next, consider what else may affect your course of action. Are there any negative situational influences or biases steering your analysis? What are the alternative actions that may be a better choice? Can others give you guidance in this matter? Now you are ready to act, which could include making a decision to take multiple actions, to take no action, or to elevate the issue to a higher authority. Afterward, reflect on what you've learned and identify your strengths and weaknesses, which will help you make ethical decisions more quickly in the future. Refer back to this ethical decision-making framework as you work through the cases in the rest of the field manuals.
Did you guys hear it though? The audio was on. Was the audio on?
Yes, the audio was on, Miriam.
But the screen wasn't showing. Okay, let me do that again. It's just a 1-minute video. It doesn't take too long, so I really want you guys to watch it because it's a good guide on how to answer. Let me know now. Do you guys see it now?
Yes, your screen has changed.
Okay, so we're gonna play it again. It's just 1 minute. Let's do it.
The ethical decision-making framework provides a lens for situations in which the answer is not simply right or wrong, and helps you identify, consider, act, and reflect on important factors to consider when faced with an ethical dilemma. First, identify the inputs needed to make an informed choice. What is the ethical principle at issue? Are there any conflicts of interest? Who do you owe a duty to? What are the important facts? Next, consider what else may affect your course of action. Are there any negative situational influences or biases steering your analysis? What are the alternative actions that may be a better choice? Can others give you guidance in this matter? Now you are ready to act, which could include making a decision to take multiple actions, to take no action, or to elevate the issue to a higher authority. Afterward, reflect on what you have learned and identify your strengths and weaknesses, which will help you make ethical decisions more quickly in the future. Refer back to this ethical decision-making framework as you work through the cases in the rest of the field manuals.
Okay, so I think we all saw that now, right? Everybody got that. So I just wanted us to see that video because it's a good guide when we're doing these cases now. So I have an acronym for that as well. It's ICAR. So identify, consider, act, and reflect. So just remember that when you're doing these cases, because it's about to get real now. Everybody's going to join in, including the CFA Society people. Please join in. Okay, the first case is on. So I have a timer. If anybody knows me, you guys have 2 minutes. Read this, try it out. Whoever's got the polls, please help me with the polls for question 1. Who's helping me with the polls? So you guys actually, the participants should let me know if they can actually see the polls. Can you guys see my screen? I'm sharing my screen. Is it showing?
Yes, your screen is showing.
Okay. Sorry, I forgot to put it back on. My mistake. That was me. So is the poll, Gloria, is the poll up so people can see? I want to, before I put my time on, so if anybody's having technical problems, we had some people that couldn't use the poll last time. Yes, the poll is on. Yeah, I see the poll too myself. So if anybody can't see it, please put it in the chat. We'll try to help you, but you have 2 minutes. Have a go, just try it. Honestly, there's no wrong or right answer. It's just try to follow what we just spoke about now. Identify, consider, act, and reflect. So just think about the case. It's a short case. Time starts now. I'm going to keep quiet and let you guys have a go. I have 124 people. I want all of you to give it a go. And the timer has started. Take your time. I have some fast fingers, you guys. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Read it again. You can change your answer. You're doing good. Have like 1 minute. Come on, people. I have 100. Only less than 10% of you have done it. Come on. I'm low in energy because I've had a long day, but I'm trying to be here for you guys. So come on. I need to get at least, I'm very ambitious, you know, I want 100 people to answer this. And you guys have 1 minute still. I'm not following the poll time. I'm using my phone here. So yes, read it. Think what do you think is the most correct answer? It's no wrong or right. So just give it a go. It's good. The poll is still going. Guys have about 30 seconds. I need from 30 seconds, we need like 60 more people. I need 100 people at least to do this. You're all here. Just give it a go. It doesn't matter. Nobody's testing you. Nobody's judging you. It's just read it. What would you do in this situation? What do you think is the most correct thing to do? Because you will find yourself in situations like this. Well done. I have 50 people. Come on. Can I get 50 more? I have 10 seconds. Come on, guys. 50 people. What are the rest of you doing? Are you asleep? It is Tuesday afternoon. I was about to say Monday, and you haven't had a day as long as mine. So come on. If I'm sitting here doing this after work, the least you can do is participate. Come on, guys. Okay, I'm going to give you guys extra 30 seconds, and I really hope we get to at least 70. I mean, maybe I'll give up. Maybe I want 100, to be honest. I want 100. And I think we can get 100. Come on. 60 people have participated. Come on. You've read the case actually. Just give it a guess. What do you think is the most correct answer? Because I want to end the poll soon because I want us to do as many as possible. As soon as it hits 3 minutes, I'm going to have to end the poll. Can I get 70? Can some people make me happier than I already am? I'm already smiling. I can smile even brighter. Come on. 5 people. You can do it for me. Come on. Imagine I need a kidney. I just need 5 people to help me out here. I need 5 naira. Not even 5,000. 5 people. Just guess. Have a go. There's even more people now. There's 128 of you here. And I'm only getting 65 people. Come on. Okay, I will let it go for this one, but next time you guys need to join in more. So I'm going to end the poll. I think you guys can see the results. So it seems like I'm going to spend more time on the options that have the majority because I want us to do the other cases. So it seems like I think B and D have the largest number of answers being chosen by people. So let's see, I'm going to look at the case. I'm not really going to read it for you. So we're talking about Vincent is a CFA charter holder and he's really hosting a celebration for some students. And he's decided, to ask the students what they experienced with the exam. And he basically wants to use the information they've given him for preparing for other potential students. So the question is, which of the following actions most correctly completes the sentence given the case that we have? So The ones that are the most popular we can see is B, I'll start with. It says Vincent can provide the opinions of his students about the difficulty of the exam to candidates in future prep classes to emphasize the need to thoroughly prepare. So this is the second most popular one. And I agree with you guys. Yes, I think personally, I probably would think this is the most correct, but it's fine. I understand why some people might think D is. So this makes sense because if you remember what I was just saying, like the final standard we spoke about, I said you're allowed to talk about difficulty, but you're not allowed to talk about topics. So this is right, hits the nail on the head, completely correct. And I agree with you guys. And I don't know why we have a lot of people that have chosen D who is saying that he must not, Vincent must not discuss the exam with students after it's over. There's nothing in the CFA program that says you can't discuss an exam. It's just saying you need to be careful on what you discuss about the exam. So even though the majority of you think, I mean, this is probably being very harsh, the CFA is not that strict. They're not saying you're human beings, you have emotions, you just had an experience in an exam. You're allowed to discuss it, but you should just not delve into too much detail. So probably the most correct answer is actually B. So well done for those that chose B. Those that chose A and C, I'm not going to go into it, but like for A, briefly, if I say, okay, he's free to pass on information about the exam. We're not really told what information he's passing on. So that's why A would not be selected. We don't know if the information involves topics or questions. That's why A probably wouldn't be the most correct. C also is talking about Vincent can solicit information about the exam questions from students in an effort to improve the course for future prep classes. We don't really know why Vincent is. He's not really doing this to help other prep providers. He's just trying to help his students. So again, I wouldn't choose C for that reason, but well done. And thank you so much for everybody that participated. I hope more people will do the next one. If I move on to the answer, which we've already discussed, can some brave individuals, at least one, two, or at least one person actually, I'm not going to be too fussy. I've already said this, but let's see who was listening. What CFA Institute standard of professional conduct and subsection does this case refer to? Can somebody in the chat be a brave individual and chat and put it for me? Okay, there are some people selecting answers in the chat. Okay, there's some people having difficulty with the poll. I think if somebody can put it in the chat for them how to use the poll, that's probably why I didn't get as many people. I didn't realize that. If Gloria or someone can help chat and write in the chat how to find the poll, I think you could look for more if you're using your phone. But can somebody tell me what standard is this? Does anybody remember? Anybody that wrote notes? Yeah, standard 7, excellent. Chinaza, thank you. What subsection is this? Which subsection is this? Subsection, you guys are saying 2, somebody is saying A, somebody is saying B. So it's talking about the difficulty with the program. So this is talking about A. This is subsection A because it's talking about the program. Subsection B is talking about how you refer yourself to reference to the CFA program. So well done. Thank you so much, Michael, David. I got Esther, a lot of people that Mary, thank you. So without wasting any more time, let's move on. Case 2. Paul, please, for question 2 up. And you guys have 2 minutes. You can start reading before the poll shows up. So let's do this one as well. And let's see if people that were getting difficulty getting the poll, if you can check, if you're using your device, look for more. I remember Gloria briefly explaining it to people before in the previous class that I had. So I think there's a little more, the dots, I think on the side, if you're using your device, you'll see the poll will come up. But try to use the poll. The poll is up now. Have a go. I'm going to keep quiet. You have already 20 seconds have gone. So go for this one. Thank you guys on the chat. Sonia is actually guiding you on how to use the poll. So please read the chat and see her guidelines so you can use the poll. Because the poll really helps because you guys can see where everybody is swaying apart from yourself. Because if you just put it in the chat, we don't really know. That's why we're using polls. So you can have an idea how everybody is thinking around you. So a minute has gone. So you guys, come on. Let's use the poll. I hope nobody is having problems. I'm still getting some, David, Jessica, or Joe, please check if you guys can do it with the poll. Check if you can use the poll on your phone. Look for that more icon. Adebayo, okay, yeah, all those people that have done it, yes, use the poll. I want you guys to use the poll. You have like 30 seconds. If you have a question, can you put it in the chat? We're taking questions at the end. I saw someone raise their hand. So come on, 15 seconds to go. Use the poll. I've got 30. I need more than 70 this time. Like 70, the time is up, but I need you guys to use the poll. Come on. You've read the case. Give it a guess. What do you most agree with? If you notice, there's nothing wrong or right. Read this question, read the case, have a go. Like there's no wrong or right answer. It's what you think is most correct. That's what the CFA is. You're using logic, you're using intuition. Come on. we had like 65 or more. I think, I can't even remember what we had. We need more than that. I need you guys are there still people putting it in the chat? Let me check. I hope not. You don't have the poll. So you guys can't see the poll on your own screen. Oh, I don't know. The poll should be there. If you look for more, but it's okay. If you can't see it, it's not your fault. I guess you're trying to join the poll, but you have a problem. I think if you go under more at the top, if you're using a laptop, there's more is right at the end. So if you click on that, the poll should show. I'm going to give you guys 10 seconds. Thank you. I got 70 this time. I'm growing. I'm happy. 10, 9, 8. I got 71. Happier. 7. Yay, 72. Yeah, 73. I'm even happier. 5. Give me 75. 4, 3. Yay, I'm almost there. 2, 1 lucky individual. Thank you, Mr. 75. You made my day, Miss or Miss 75. So I'm going to end the poll. Oh, I got 76 just before I ended it. Thank you for that bonus. So this case is talking about an investment manager, Obi. So he's hired for a few years, and then his sister's opened an investment account with the firm, and then he's decided to leave the firm and he wants to set up his own business. And so he asked his sister if she wants to close her existing account with the firm and move to the new fund that he's moving. So my question really for you guys is, which of the following actions, obviously, again, we're completing sentences if you've noticed the whole gist of it. And I can see with you guys, we have the most popular one is B and C. So we are given, okay, I'll read this. This case is very vague, to be very honest with you guys. I don't give you guys too much information in this case. It's short and straight to the point. Obi's request is unacceptable because she should not solicit her employer's client to join the new fund. That's the most popular one you guys chose. But really, do we have information in the case? Can somebody put it in the chat? Is it saying that she's soliciting? Have I given you guys that information? Did I give you that? It's a yes or no. Did I give you the information that she's actually soliciting somebody to new fund? Yes or no? Somebody in the chat? Does the case say that to you? Do you? No, thank you, Jessica. I don't say that. You don't have any information. With this particular case, there's questions you need to ask yourself. You know how we watched that video? You need to first identify, consider, act, and reflect. First of all, what principles are you identifying here? What information have you been given? What are you considering? I haven't given you much to consider on this case, to be very honest. So you don't even know what to do on your action, let alone reflection. If you think about it, she doesn't know. Do we know that she's soliciting? Do we know if she has a non-compete? So the other most popular one was C, that you guys are saying she's already asked her sister to close the account, but we don't know when she asked her sister. Did she ask her? Are we told that Obi has started the company or she's thinking of starting it? Do we have that information? Even though you're saying she's already asked her sister, I haven't told you if she's just thinking about it. She could have asked her sister why she's thinking about it, or she's already started it. I haven't told you that. I haven't told you anything. So the client comes first, somebody is saying, do you know? So I haven't given you so much information with this. This case is unknown facts. That's what it's called, because there's so many facts that have not been considered. We don't know if she's signed a non-compete. We don't know if she's soliciting while she's still working there, or she's doing this, she's already resigned. We don't know so much about this. So congratulations. This is a trick one for you guys. Everybody's right here because we don't know there's too many unknowns for you to actually have the most correct answer here. So this was a trick one for everybody, but thank you for the 76 people that joined in. Everybody is correct. So like you can pat yourself in the back, you can give yourself a clap. Everybody is correct with this because there's so many things that are unknown in this case. So there's no way for you to actually say what Obi has done right or wrong because we're not given too much information. So sometimes you're not given too much information. But I mean, the CFA would never do this for you, either with the ethic challenge. I just wanted to do this for you guys, just to give you guys the go that there's no wrong or right answer sometimes with ethics. It's just thinking you probably will have assumptions. If I was to ask you now to raise your hand, everybody will have a reason why they chose their answer, and nobody is wrong. So that's enough for this one. I think that was great to see how you guys did. As you can see, I've shared the poll now with you guys. Everybody is correct. Well done. Without wasting further time, because the next case is the final case, but I want to ask you guys a question. What standard are we talking about here and what subsection? Quickly in the chat because we want to do the final case. Gerba, there's no right or wrong answer. All the answers are correct. Yes, thank you guys. So yes, everybody remember standard 4. Yes. Loyalty to clients. Thank you, Namidi. That you guys are on point. I mean, excellent. So it's good. There's people here. Yes, thank you so much. University of Ibadan. Yes, well done. So without wasting time, because I want to do your questions, this is the final case. You have 2 minutes to go. Please, we can start the poll and use the poll. And let's see if we can get more than 76 of you to join in. As you noticed, like, you can be right even without knowing the, let's see, is the poll up for me? Because I can't see the poll. I hope the candidates can see it. Can we have the poll up for question 3? Because I've started the timer. Have a read for this one and then let's try. Yeah, thank you. So yes, Mims. Read it, participate. I want 100. It would be great to get 100. Come on, guys. I mean, this needs to be more lively. We need more people to join in. Come on, guys. We have a minute. I'm going to keep quiet and let you read now. Well done. Let me see. Are there people still having difficulty in the chat? Jessica, you still can't use the poll. I think if you... So a minute almost gone with this one. So you should have read the case now. Choose what you think is the most correct answer. Remember our video, identify what principle we're talking about, consider, act, reflect, just try to follow that. That's why I put that video out there, because you need to, if you're looking at the case, you're thinking, what principle is this talking about? You need to consider, okay, what's the best thing to do? What action are you going to do? And then you just reflect, is this really the best action to take? Or is there something more that we could do? So you guys have like 30 seconds and I have 39 people. You have read this. You've had enough time. We had 76. Let's see if we can beat 76. Let's go for 100. This is the last one. And you guys ask me all the questions you want after this. This is the last one. I'm just asking you to join in. Oh, my timer has gone off, but I'm following the poll time now anyway. Okay, I still have people putting it in the chat. So I'm just hoping, well, you guys might add up to make my 100 dream. But I want you guys to use the poll. I think the poll function is really good because it just lets you know what your peers are thinking, not just you. I'm happier. I can be happier. We're almost there. I want more than 76. I would love to have 100. That would just make my day completely. It would make my Tuesday. Come on, guys. You're doing great. We have 70. Use the poll. Try and find your more. Look at your phone. Check your tabs. Find that poll. Google it. Find how to do it. If we're not helping you, you can Google it and sort it out yourself. Come on, guys. I have 71. You cannot be less than the other one. We're progressing here. We want to progress. You guys want to win this challenge now. You need to progress. I need to feel better too. Like, this is to help you. You're the ones preparing for a challenge. Come on. We can do better. Thank you, number 75. Yes. Come on. Let's go for 80. I think if I go for 80, I can stop because that's just fair because we're almost at 3 minutes. Yeah. Well done. 78. Come on. Come on, lucky Miss 79, Mr. 79. Yes. One more person. There's 117. I'm wondering, okay, probably we're having technical issues. Probably I've got more now. I'm hoping we've got almost 100 with all the people. Yay! Okay, I'm going to end the chat. The poll, sorry, not the chat. I'm going to end the poll. Thank you, number 81. I love the bonuses. I feel really good when you guys give me bonuses. So this case, this is actually a real CFA case. Like this happened to a real CFA charter holder. It was really sad when I found this case. Obviously, the name has changed and everything, but this is somebody that is trying to look out for their client. The client have to sign a legal document for any changes that take place. But there's a problem with paperwork wasn't ready. And then by the time it was ready, the person could not reach their clients. And without the signatures, it means that their clients will also lose. And because remember, I told you clients always come first. So in haste of trying to serve the clients, this CFA charter holder actually forged the client's signature on the documents. These are legal documents and she forged the signature. So, I mean, the poll is showing that everybody, like majority of you say it's unacceptable. The second runner-up is that people think that it's acceptable if they gave her explicit permission to do it. But as you guys, okay, if you've given them, even though if you've given someone permission to do things, this is a legal document. It's not about me giving you permission. This is binded by law. So that's why probably the second D is not the correct answer, because this is an illegal thing she's doing. It's really sad, as I said to you. This is someone that had a career of 15 years doing absolutely everything right, and she just made this mistake. It affected her employer, had to report her to the CFA. She had to be sanctioned by the CFA. It didn't revoke her license, but she was suspended because of it. So these things are really sensitive. And it's so important for you to understand, because you don't want your track record of doing the right thing. And it's really sad for me because I think she's doing it from a good place. That's a really sad thing about this case. And you guys are absolutely correct. It is unacceptable. There is no way that it's okay for Yasmin to forge her client's signature in any way, because it's illegal. So well done. And you guys did amazing. Because we want to have time for questions, I think I'm going tight on time. Just the last thing that I love to ask, you guys now know my pattern. What standard are we talking about and what subsection in the chat quickly, and then we'll just move on to you guys' questions. Well done. Thank you for the people that put it in the chat as well. So what standard is this and what subsection? I'm looking at the chat. Anybody brave enough? Yes, we have it. Well done. Yeah, okay, excellent. Okay, we have a bit of a myth. Yeah, okay. Standard one, you guys are perfectly right. Everybody, this is professionalism. What subsection? This is legal document. I'm giving it away there. What subsection is talking about? Well done, Esther. So it's subsection A, knowledge of the law. You should not do anything that is illegal. And she did something that is illegal. Forging a document is illegal. So it's really sad. Her name wasn't Yasmin. I don't know who she was, but it's really sad because you really need to watch what you do. Like, even if you're trying to do what's right, it's important to understand these subsections when you become a CFA charter holder, when you're in the program. Thank you, guys. You guys have been excellent. And that is it from me talking. We have, maybe we'll go 5 minutes over, I think. We have about 10 minutes maybe for questions. Anybody that has questions, raise your hands and I will answer your questions. If you don't want to speak, you can put it in the chat. Just any questions you have about what we've gone through or anything outside here to do with ethics, feel free. The floor is now for you guys, the participants. So do we have any questions from anybody? Feel free to ask me any questions. With the cases, we can go back if you're feeling like something you weren't sure about. Okay, we have somebody that has raised their hand. So can we let that person speak? We have two people now. So let's go with, I think Ruqayya raised her hand first. So I think I am not able to enable it. Sonia? Okay, what's your question?
My question is, as a law student, most times we're giving the ability to act on behalf of our client. So I'm wondering how that tallies with not being able to sign a document for a client, especially when it's necessary, because as a lawyer, you are able to sign documents for your client.
Okay, so that's your perspective as a lawyer. Like, for example, when you sign for your client, are you forging their signature or you're saying you're signing for them? Can I ask you that, Ruqayya? Are you still with me, Ruqayya? Okay, so if you're not, I can't hear you, Ruqayya.
you're signing your own signature on the
So you see what the case said. If I go back to it, it says she forged their signature. So that means she didn't sign. She wasn't actually, I think I've lost my, okay, there's my slides. I'm bringing it back. That's why it was illegal. She's forging it. Is that in your, legally as well, you know, forging, if as a lawyer, if you forge someone's signature, is that illegal still? Rukaya? Hello? So the whole point is, I don't know if Rukaya heard me or if you guys can hear me. The key word here is forged the client's signature. It's not that she signed for them, she forged their signature. So she was pretending to be them. So that's illegal in any, I think, any jurisdiction in the world. Is that clear?
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay. Great. Next person, please. I think we did have a few hands raised.
Hello?
I don't know. Yeah, hello.
You can hear me? Yeah. Good evening, Mariam. Thank you so much for taking this session. My name is Aminat, and I'm kind of very curious about a situation in which you're having conflicting issues with the standards. For example, let's say standard 1 and standard 3 are kind of conflicting in a situation. So what do you do in that sense? So I could recall that you said the law of the land is kind of supreme or the most strict one. But I'm saying in case this is within standards, not within CFA Society's code of conduct and the laws. So it's just within 2 standards. Well, have you ever had a situation like that? And is that possible?
I think with what the program does actually with the CFA, that's a great question, excellent question. I mean, actually, with the CFA, there's actually cases like, for example, and I don't know if any of my cases does that. There's the cases that actually violate more than one standard, and I think that's what you're asking. You will have an option. Okay, is it just violating standard 1, or is it violating standard 1 and 2? So there are cases whereby it's actually doing multiple subsections. So that does happen. And normally if you're in the exam, there would be an option whereby it's saying it's violated 1 and 2. Or it'll have, somehow they like to do negative questions. They say, which standard has least likely been violated? So that means all the other options have been violated, but 1, that's what your answer is. So it happens, and normally there can be multiple violations. So I hope that answers your question. Amina, are we clear? I think if just because of time, if Amina is not responding, we can go on to the next person, I think. So we can take another question. Okay, yes, Amina is saying yes in the chat. Okay, that's good. So next person, do we have another question? We're good on time. I mean, just on the nick of it. I can take one more question. You can't, okay, you couldn't unmute. That's fine. I mean, as long as it's clear for you, that's all I wanted to know.
So there was a hand raised, and I actually enabled the person to unmute, but I think he or she just disappeared.
Okay.
But then there is a question in the chat.
Yeah.
I think it's referring to the last case study. The person said for the most recent case, is it just one standard she broke? That should be the Yasmin case study.
Okay. So Yasmin, sorry, I keep getting out of it. Let me go back into it. So Yasmin, let me see. We're told is Yasmin has forged her client's signature. I'm not thinking she has, in best of my knowledge, I think she's only violated that professionalism knowledge of the law, because I don't see anything else that she's done, because she's actually working. I think the only thing maybe somebody's thinking about duties to clients. Maybe that's the standard that person is referring to. I'm just thinking, but she's trying to do what's best for her client. Maybe I think the person is thinking that she's now not allowed her client to get the most out of it, like suitability. I think, is that what this person is saying? Do we have any more standards that proceed over the other? Okay, I have questions now in the chat actually. So I think for this case with Yasmin, because it's a real case actually, this one, and I think that's what she was called out, was for violating professionalism knowledge of the law. So there wasn't another standard that she violated. She actually, if anything, she was trying to do her best for her clients. That's why she got herself in this bend. So I hope that helps with the question. I think I have, let me read the chat again.
From Chinonso Amos. saying, can you differentiate between material public and material non-public information?
Okay, so material public information. This is information that you can, for example, let me use an example for you guys. Like if we're here in Nigeria, we know there's different rates for VAT tax, for income tax, there's pay tax. We know that, but there might be few changes that take place. The government once in a while changes these things. But if you don't search for it, you won't know what the percentage is. I mean, if you don't search for it, you won't know it's supposed to be 15% or 10% you're charging. But it's public information. If you search, financial statements for all companies are public information. Acts for any establishments are public information. But if you don't search for them, you won't know. And these could be material. Like, for example, if I use taxes, it could be material because it could affect, maybe if the taxes of companies have gone up, you can project that the company is probably going to be making some changes to be able to cover those taxes that they're doing. And that could affect their moves and their price of their shares. So that's material public information. Or basically just going into a company and speaking to a few directors about maybe research and development, new ideas that going into, that's all material public information, because anybody can access those directors. If they email them, they call them, or they go into the company, that's material public information. Now, if I go to material non-public information, if a director contacts you who is a friend of yours and tells you, oh, we're thinking to do this IPO, we're thinking to reduce this product, we're thinking to release this, or we're going to discontinue something, they are going to release this to the public eventually, but you're getting insider privy information. So this is material non-public information. So that's the difference. I hope that is clear for you guys. So it's anything that is given to you in confidence that hasn't been released. Maybe it's before a press conference and they just give you a heads up. That's material non-public information. So I hope that's clear with that question as well. I think I just saw a hand that was raised, but it's gone now, I think.
Can you take one more question?
I can take one more question, and then I think we've tried with the timing. Okay, so two hands.
Okoli, go ahead.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so you're talking about material non-public information. So let's say you are a portfolio manager and one of your major clients approaches you with insider information about maybe a company's upcoming merger, and they insist that you act on this information in order to maybe capitalize on the opportunity. So how will you navigate the situation while still adhering to CFA's Institute Code of Ethics and standards, specifically in regards to your duties to clients and then market integrity?
Yes. So even though your client has told you to do something that you know is a clear violation, what you can do best is advise your client to release this information to be public, but you should not act on it. You cannot act on material public information. Even if you cause somebody else to act, you are at fault. So in this case, like, you know, because I always say, I say duties to clients, employers, and yourself, you're putting the risk of the integrity of the capital markets here if you go and do what your client said. And if your client is telling you to do something wrong, it is wrong. Your client, you can say no to them. If they tell you to do something illegal, would you do it? That's going to get you in prison. So you tell them that it's a violation and you cannot do that. And you just recommend for them to make that information public as soon as possible. But you do not share that information with anybody or cause anybody to act on it. You actually advise that client that has that inside information not to act on it, because you can actually report that client for insider trading. That's what you should do as a CFA charter holder or CFA candidate or in the program. So I hope that's clear. We're good. I think that's...
Yes, thank you. It's clear.
Okay. So I think we are good now. We've gone 5 minutes over. We did 5 minutes, you guys watching our CFA video. And thank you so much. Thank you guys for joining. And I wish you all the best with the ethics challenge. And you've done excellent. You've been a wonderful audience. And thank you. Unfortunately, for those that couldn't do the poll, thank you for putting it in the chat. Even though I didn't count you in, I appreciate you participating. And just before I leave, I mean, I'm a huge believer of quotes, and I really love this quote by Eliza Yudsko-Sky that says, just because, I think, hold on, let me read it. You are personally responsible for becoming more ethical than the society you grew up in. And I think this resonates home for us here, being Nigerians. It's not easy to be ethical in our environment. We live in a very complex environment, but it's up to you. And it is a reminder for me and for yourselves, if you ever find yourself in an ethical bend, regardless of how much it might benefit you, try to do what is best. Like, do the ethically correct thing to do. Like, it goes beyond today. Being ethically correct is something that you live by. Like, I mean, if you think of great people like Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, it's all they're known for their integrity and ethics. And I know here to succeed in our environment, ethics doesn't help you. It's not about what people see you doing. It's just doing what's right regardless. And I just hope when we're tested, me, you, everybody, we do what's best. And I really wish you guys the best. Thank you. You've been a great audience, and enjoy the rest of your week and best of luck. You guys are amazing. Honestly, for those that are not in the program, you guys did amazing. Honestly, I'm really proud of you guys, and I wish you all the best. So bye from me now. I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you, Mariam. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Miriam.
Thank you so much, Miriam. I mean, that was a very great one. I'm sure all of you enjoyed that session. I mean, that was just an introduction to what lies ahead of you as we go through the case studies during the semi-final and the final. And beyond the competition is also to encourage you that make this a lifestyle, not just because of the competition. At this point, I would like to appreciate everyone, appreciate the society, and hand over to Yemi for the closing remark. Yemi.
Hello. I couldn't unmute myself. Thank you so very much, Miriam. Quintessential as usual. Very, very engaging session. And I hope all the students that dialed in, you've gotten one thing or the other. And Godspeed. All the best to all the teams competing. You now have a better level playing field to be able to approach the challenge that's going to be happening this year. I'd also like to say a very big thank you to Investor Relations Committee team that is also superintending this, and as well executive office people that are always the engine room that supports the volunteers to deliver on all society initiatives. On behalf of the Board of Governors and members of CFA Society Nigeria, I bid everyone good evening.